Welcome to the Fresh Vending podcast, where we discuss how smart vending machines are revolutionizing fresh food accessibility for both creators and consumers.
Hello, and welcome to episode 11, where Isaac and I are coming live and direct from downtown Philadelphia. So we're actually together in person and not patching together a Zoom this week, which is kind of nice. I like it.
Yep, Philly's a great place. My first time here.
Yeah, so this week we want to talk a little bit about a blog that you recently wrote, Isaac, that we thought was good for our listeners out there that just prefer to kind of, get high quality content from our audio program. So do you want to share a little bit about that blog, Isaac?
Yeah, the blog is called the Smart Vending Tripod App Fridge Dashboard. And the reason I use that analogy is because we believe a smart vending solution truly needs these three legs of an app, the hardware, and the software or the dashboard. And that kind of plays into the analogy where a tripod really stabilizes the camera, helps it focus on what matters most. And similarly, a smart vending solution with these three legs would help the operator focus on what matters most, which is selling their food 24/7 and growing their operation on their terms.
Yeah, so I'll unpack that a little bit. So when you're talking about, I think you said fridge hardware. I mean, that's pretty obvious for a smart fridge. That's absolutely necessary. I guess the dashboard, is relatively obvious, and that, especially once somebody can take a look at it. And then there's the smartphone app, and I'm thinking to myself, for somebody that may not be familiar, why exactly is that so key?
Yeah, well, I mean, to think about it, a smart vending solution sells restaurant quality food. And you and I have been to a few restaurants together in the past few days, and we just know experience is everything when it comes to food. Now, when you're selling cashierless or unattended out of a smart vending solution, there needs to be some sort of experience for the consumer in that case. And the app can come in and not be a completely full substitute for that human touch, but it can be a way for the fresh food creator and the fresh food consumer to connect on many levels. So for example, if I'm a consumer, say I'm Cam, the consumer, and I am up late studying at my university campus at 9 p.m. and I'm looking for fresh food, but it's hard because everywhere else on campus is closed. And then the regular vending machines only have kind of, unhealthy snacks. And so what I can then do is I know that my university has smart fridges all over campus. But, I'm a busy guy. I don't want to walk to each one and see what's in each fridge. I want to see kind of remotely what is in each fridge, how much they are, the nutritionals. So I can whip out a smartphone app that my university has communicated to me. And I can see, okay, there's a fridge right by the student union where I am. There's one right by my dorm. And that one actually has my favorite chicken salad sandwich. Oh, wait, looks like there's a promotion on it that got pushed out. It's only $4 instead of $5. This is awesome. So it's that kind of, I guess, omni-channel connection between the fresh food provider and the consumer, where the consumer has the app always in their pocket. They can always have that top of mind security to say, okay, I can see no matter what time of day, no matter where I am, what's in these smart fridges, in which locations. And I think that's huge for a fresh food consumer, like a student on campus.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And when you were talking about, some of our experiences that you and I have had the last few days. So the place where we're staying is right near Chinatown. So we've been walking around Chinatown, and we've had these experiences from going to a corner store where my mindset going in was like, we got to get some bottles of water, or maybe we'll grab some bananas or whatever's in there. But it was quick and easy and very transactional, and there's no brand experience there. Whereas when I think about the places that we went out to eat, one of the places was like a dim sum house, and another one we had some amazing ramen, and that is much more about an experience. And that it was interesting hearing you talk, because that kind of hit the parallel for me of traditional vending, which is just about a transaction, versus when you start selling higher quality fresh food, and how that smartphone app really helps bridge the gap. So I think that made a lot of sense. I can dive in a little bit to the piece on the dashboard. So for the dashboard, which is a standard for most, I guess all smart fridge companies have to have a dashboard by definition. That's where the operator is going to log in every day, and hopefully the dashboard is robust enough where, maybe my morning routine is I open my laptop at 8 a.m. as an operator, and I can go in and see what did I sell last night, or did I lose power at any point, or connectivity, or are there any issues with my, operations, so that I have peace of mind that I can sleep well at night and not, have something going off the rails for hours and hours and have bad customer experiences.
You've probably had a few of those in your time.
Yeah. So when I was quite a bit younger, I was partner in different cafe chains in Oakland and San Francisco. So kind of living and breathing the realities of being an operator with, things that your employees may do that, may not be the smartest or in the best interest of the business, and your customers for that reason, just things kind of can go sideways, and you just want to have peace of mind that, to me, top of mind is always like food safety is number one, right? And then behind that, thinking about things like the customer experience. Did they have an issue? What are those resources? Like we talked about the smartphone app, if there's an issue at 3 a.m., is there any sort of resource there for them? So the dashboard is really kind of the back end brain, so that you don't need to go visit the smart fridge every single day just for the sake of checking on it. You really can remotely have peace of mind that there is food safety, you are selling, you're giving good experiences, and that you only really need to go visit if it's your employees going to stock the fridge.
Yeah, that's great. I think kind of what I was talking about with the app and how I can, through the app, locate the fridge and see what's inside. That's kind of basic. You would expect that out of a consumer app, but you're talking about kind of more experiential features. Would you mind kind of digging deeper and talking about how, if you're an operator, what would you maybe do with this dashboard and app piece to really elevate the experience in the absence of a cashier or a waiter that normally would be there?
Yeah, for sure. So we talked about the third leg is the hardware, right? And I think that kind of ties in a little bit to answering this question. So you have your smart fridge. In our experience, when we're talking about creating these more fresh food companies tend to be a heck of a lot more brand forward. So again, the convenience store that's probably selling, salty sweet, like more like traditional vending machines. That's one thing. But when you get into fresh food, those types of fresh food companies are more about brand and experiences that go along with having a higher price point and a higher quality product. So when we start to think about that, there's dynamic things that you can do on the customer side with the app, but then also the dashboard and the physical fridge. So when you walk up to that, kind of walking through, I think the best answer for this is like walking through what is that experience like for the consumer. So they walk up to the fridge, and right out of the, first impression, what is the fridge, like the quality of the build of the fridge saying about your brand, right? What is the materials that are used? What does the lighting look like? All these little details that somebody would use if they were, or be thinking through if they were going to be launching or opening like a new restaurant or something like that. It's the same exact thing with smart fridges. Other aspects like how large is the fridge interior, because that creates variety of offering, right? So all of a sudden it's not just sandwiches and salads and bottled water, but maybe you've been able to add in a bunch of other drinks, maybe a breakfast offering, maybe there's microwavable meals in there. So all of a sudden, this smart fridge becomes this very compelling offering that's relevant 24 hours a day. So that's kind of some of the things that I know that our team at FoodSpot put a ton of thought into and how we designed our fridge, because Isaac, a lot of people on our team have had experience with being either owner-operators of fresh food operations or being really key players. So that's kind of the hardware piece. And then we work backwards to answer your question. I think about the dashboard is when that operator is going in and checking all their smart fridges at 8 a.m. every day or whatever the routine is, they can also look in there and say, oh, you know what? At the smart fridge, I know that I have these, 5 tuna niçoise salads that are going to expire tomorrow. And, those are expensive to make. Let's go ahead and run a discount for the next 24 hours on tuna niçoise to see if we can, get those in the hands of customers that are going to appreciate them and also ensure that we're not going to be wasting those salads. So this kind of speaks really well to like the trifecta or the tripod that you mentioned of, in about 15 seconds on our dashboard, you can go in and say, 50% off. You can text everybody that's ever used that fridge through the app. Again, it's that relationship through the app that's really bridging the gap of not having a cashier present. And then that's when the customer physically goes to the fridge, has that great experience and says, hey, I just saved some money from a brand that I really love. And that's how I think that's a good story of kind of how the tripod comes together.
Yeah, it's really kind of like this verbal communication through these pushes. I can imagine being that student and saying, okay, I could go to this smart fridge right by my dorm, but I just got a notification or a text from this company saying there's actually some discounted items over, by the library. And as a student, a couple $dollars off means a lot. So, and then I appreciate the brand even more, and I want to go back and use that fridge again. So, that communication is huge.
Yeah, I think it's also profound when you think about, you're kind of stepping like above and beyond, because all of a sudden your brand that maybe that student or that nurse or that office worker or wherever the fridge is, they are carrying the fresh food brand in their pocket all of a sudden everywhere they go. And like you said, although they may not take advantage of that 25% off the niçoise salad, you've been able to touch them in a way that you wouldn't normally have been able to do that before, unless they came to your location or you spent a bunch of money on some sort of advertisement or something like that. So it's just a really nice, like, you're giving value. So it's like, you're not just like throwing something out there. You're saying, this is my audience. I know this is my demographic because they already use my products. They already have my app. Let's give them value and be able to touch them. And you can, follow them as they navigate their life, through the phone in their pocket, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And if you're listening and you're thinking, okay, there are so many smart vending solutions out there. Nathan just talked about how you need to really represent your brand well if you're not always going to be on site. And you want to see, okay, what solutions are out there? What do they look like? What's the lighting like? What's the interior space of the smart fridge in this case? We have blogs about this that show kind of the different manufacturers, and you can see for yourself, which one fits my brand the most, which technology fits my use case the best. And we even have some blogs about designing and making sure that truly what you do with your smart vending hardware can drive sales and ROI.
Absolutely. And I think for us and anybody that's followed any of, read a handful of our blogs or listened to a handful of our podcasts, you're going to start to find this like common denominator that we do not shy away from talking about our competitors, and we feel no need to kind of, put ourselves on a pedestal. And the reason behind that is that, first of all, there's only 6 smart fridge platforms in the US, like manufacturers that sell the hardware to fresh food companies, and then kind of have that, at least a dashboard that goes along with it. And within those technologies, there's plenty of opportunity for all of our companies to kind of grow in a very healthy way in the US. And the other piece is that each of the technologies is really best fit for one particular application. And for us, we're the only company that was, founded by people that are, food service veterans. Our team is made up of many food service veterans. We're all about high quality fresh foods specifically. So our technology is geared towards that. The way that consumers can connect is geared towards that. Like, that's really who we are and what we do. Whereas we have competitors that are really well geared towards that, like convenience store scenario that we mentioned earlier. And it's just about, be great at what you're at and helping people out there, like the listeners right now, figure out that, do I need the level of food safety that FoodSpot has, or maybe I don't, depending on what you're trying to achieve. So it's not so much about, it's like kind of an all ships rising scenario where we're trying to help people find that smart fridge platform that is best suited towards, what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, that's great. So in a nutshell, this smart vending tripod includes an app where a consumer always has your brand top of mind. They feel that they're in communication with you, even though you're not there on site selling them the food in person. The dashboard is another leg of the tripod where, as an operator, you can have that peace of mind and have full visibility on all of the activity in your fridge, whether that's your employee stocking it, one of your customers buying something, or the diagnostics of how your fridge is doing, temperature and things like that. And then, of course, the fridge itself, or the hardware that is the physical representation of your brand that the consumer goes to interact and appreciate your food on their terms. So that is the smart vending tripod that we wanted to talk about today. Anything else that you'd like to add?
Yeah, and I think in your opening, you said it perfectly, that when the legs are in place, and for us, if high quality, or restaurant quality fresh food is what you're really focused on, then we believe that we can make an incredibly compelling case on why our technology and team and support is the best. But when those, no matter what you're trying to sell, even if you're selling, kind of the more convenience store type offering, having a strong foundation, or for our product, it's a tripod in place, really allows you to focus on what's most important, which is, producing high quality fresh food and selling it 24 hours a day. So I think that's a great recap. And, by all means, for all of you out there listening, if this, stirs any other questions, you can always, it's very easy to, set a meeting with us. You can just go on our website and you'll have access to set a meeting with somebody from our team. And we're more than happy to share even more if you have additional questions. And even if you're just sizing up, is FoodSpot a good fit or not? By all means, set a meeting with us and we'll sit down and spend a few minutes together and help you gather the information so that you can select the platform that's best for your company.
Great. Okay, with that being said, we'll talk soon and we'll see you next time on the Fresh Vending Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the show this week. If you're interested in learning more about smart vending platforms, you can visit us at launchfoodspot.com. I'm Nathan Downs, and you've been listening to the Fresh Vending Podcast.